What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 6 of the Duality Podcast, where our motto is living comfortably uncomfortable. My name is Ian Perez, joined as always by Jonathan Mercado, Victor Rivera, and Chris Zora. We're 4 ordinary dudes with extraordinary dreams. Jonathan, help us out, my man.
Well, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Let's go.
Oh,
Who do you got? Who do you got?
this is my here. I expect the Kansas City Chiefs to win, but I'm actually rooting for the Bucks to win. You know why? Because Tom Brady. I want that. I want to say fool. Can I say fool here? I don't know, but I just did. Anyway.
What's wrong with full?
I don't know. Might offend someone. Anyway. But nah, if I was, I'm with Tom Brady. If he wins, he needs to retire. I would retire on top like that. Or y'all?
It's hard when you have that dog mentality, brother. Because he even said he's gonna keep going.
Man, he's just in it for the money. That's all. Like, get a TB12 shirt. So
I don't know, brother. That's when you're in that deep, you love the process, brother. That's.
I mean, I get it. I think I'll be the same way. But you know what? I would retire. Be like, oh, you said I couldn't win without Belichick. Take this. I'm leaving into the sunset. I'm gone. I'm a legend.
Yeah, I get that. Like, if you're in it for the money type, and you know when you want to go out on a legacy on a high, but when you're a real dog and you're gonna keep fighting until you got nothing left.
That's you. Oh, yeah. That's you.
No, it's not just me. I mean, but majority of the time, right? Like, if you look at it, most people would say, "I wish I just could have kept going."
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, not having no regrets. Like, I could have.
Yeah. Like, man, I still had like a couple left in the tank. Like, let's go. But I feel you. I feel the exact same way. Like, I expect Kansas to win, but I'm rooting for the GOAT as well, man. Just the mindset, because he's playing not off performance. His performance is, not as peak as it was before, but he's playing with mindset. He's playing with strategy. He's playing with all the experience.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm excited to see today. Scott, Chris. Your mic, brother.
My bad.
There you go.
I'm rooting for Kansas City because Brady was like my other nemesis. Like, I was talking about Kobe before. Like, I'm a Peyton Manning fan, so like they were rivals. So I got to root for Kansas City.
You're so loyal. I love it, dog. You're so loyal.
Like, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but I do respect what Brady has been able to do. I don't hate him the way I used to, but like, as I grow older, there's no player that I actually hate. But yeah, I still can't root for him.
And you can't hate him though, like, for sure. If you could just see all the work that he's put in and all the discipline and staying focused, I can't hate the man because he's so good.
I used to hate on the Patriots, all the Patriot fans.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like, I get that. I'm just like,
you're in the weakest like division ever. No wonder you're getting all the way to the Super Bowl all the time. But now, like, really, my respect level went up, man.
What you got, Ian?
I just want a good game. I don't want to blow out. I'd like I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 45-40 in favor of the Bucks.
I like that. That's a good game.
That's a competitive game. Yeah, it's like one possession.
I don't want to see a game where it's nobody's scoring and it's tough I want to see them battle.
Yeah.
Speaking of Peyton Manning, as long as it wasn't like the Seattle Broncos Super Bowl where it was a safety in the first 30 seconds and just blow out, I'll be happy. I just want some points.
Ian's playing it safe. He just wants to see a good game. Let's see. LeBron, they asked LeBron, they're like, hey, who do you expect to win? And his answer was, because he's friends with both, right? He's friends, like, so he plays neutral. He's like, hey, I'm going to give you a safe answer. I just want to see a good game. I just want to see a good game.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing either win. Like, Pat Mahomes is a Texas boy, and then Tom Brady is the GOAT. So, I mean, I would love to see him win one and ride into the sunset.
I think all of Texas is rooting for the Chiefs because of Mahomes, Texas Tech.
I'm also excited to see the commercials.
Oh, dude.
Because I was wasn't reading. I'm lying. I was watching the news. I don't ever watch the news, but I was sitting down and tying my shoes, and the news is always on because my pops, like, he's that generation. Like, the news first thing in the morning with some cup of coffee, right? And so I was just tying my shoes, getting ready to bounce, and they were talking about how COVID has really increased the trajectory of technology so quick, right? Because everybody's now having to pivot, learn, and take everything to a whole new level. So they're expecting these commercials to be just on a whole different level. I'm excited to see.
Like you always get excited for the commercials, but then like I don't know, I feel like for the last I don't know how many years, most of them have been letdowns. So it would be nice to see some good commercials.
It should
And
be
I
a
heard
change.
that.
Yeah, this should be a change.
Yeah, right. I know me and my son excited because like Disney is gonna launch all these commercials on their new shows that are coming up, like the Star Wars series, all the Marvel stuff that's coming up. So they got like all these like commercials lined up, like sneak peek movies and stuff. Like, because a lot of them held on to movies like all of 2020. Like, so they're gonna launch a whole bunch this year. So I'm excited to see what's coming. I'm excited about that.
I heard Robin Hood's gonna have a commercial too.
Oh, I bet.
We're sorry. We're sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
That's gonna be their commercial.
Yo, check this out, guys. You know, we gotta have a little fun piece, and it's always about getting to know us even more. And Valentine's is around the corner. I want to talk about what was y'all's first date? Like you would call your first date. Where'd you go?
I got this.
Yeah, what's up?
So first date, I won't say first date. I'm gonna say a first date with my wife because it's super funny.
Yeah.
So me and my wife, we were like different cities. We met.
How old are y'all on this date?
On the first date, like 17-ish, 18-ish, around there.
How old were you guys when y'all met?
I was 16.
Okay.
16. First met was 16. But we didn't really date like that until like a year later. Anyway, I took her to the mall. There was a little mall. You know how the malls have like the eating cafeteria.
The
food court.
Food court. So like we live in.
You can choose anything you want.
We're in different cities, like literally different cities. It's like you want to say like Austin and Round Rock, but like a little bit more like
It's further than that. That's further than that.
So I had to like take a bus and a train. It took me an hour to get there to her house. So anyway, took her on a date, bought her flowers, teddy bear, and everything. So we're on the bus going to the on the metro.
That's romantic, brother.
And then so anyway, we're there. We get our food, Chinese food. She's really not trying to eat. No, and then when we talked like years later, she was like, I was hungry as heck. I just didn't want to think I was like no, I was trying to be a lady.
Yeah.
So we go and then we go back down. We went to the top area. So we took the elevator. So when we're coming down, I was like, all right, I'm gonna shoot my shot. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for the kiss.
After Chinese food. Oh, that's bad.
Well, I don't know where it was now. It was before or after. Anyway, but so I went for it, and then she dodged me, bro. She dodged me.
Chinese food, brother.
She went like this. I was like, oh damn. I was like, all right. We just kind of chuckled and laughed and just like, all right. That was rough, man.
It's not you. It was your breath. It was not you. Don't take it personal, Vic. It was the breath. You probably had game, but it was the breath, brother.
That's funny.
Anybody else like first date, bro? Like, what do you think was awesome about your first date? What'd y'all do?
For us, I think it was like we had just started. Like I had just asked her out to be my girlfriend.
Give me the age.
And
age means a lot, so they were like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
So
creeper.
We've been. So it's 2010. So.
How you doing?
That's 11 years. I was like, what? I was like 22.
You don't know how old you were.
I was about 22, 21, 22.
All right, so you
and she was she was
college age,
19, 20 or something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but so we lived 4 hours apart when we first started dating. So it was my first. It was my first time going to visit her. So I drove all the way up there, and I didn't know what to do out there, so I mean, she sort of planned it out because I'd never been to her city before. So we ended up just getting some like Mexican food and then going to see Dear John. And then after that, we went to the beach in Avila Beach, like at night, and
That's super romantic.
just walked around, and yeah, it was.
Well, she
it was
planned
nice.
it. He didn't plan it, so
Oh,
that makes sense.
Well, we kind of winged it. Actually, it wasn't like really planned out.
Don't
But,
try
and
to
it was
save
actually,
yourself now.
and it was actually on Valentine's Day too.
Oh,
damn.
it is nice, brother.
Yeah.
Ian, what you got, man? That sounds like a Grease movie.
No, for me, I don't know. Like dates were hard to come by with Steph, so it was. Wait, let me do the math now
Well,
too. She was 19,
and you were like 25.
20. You mother. I'm not gonna cuss. I'm not gonna cuss. Anyways,
You
I
had
was
to ask the
22.
parents, like, "Hey,
22.
can Steph come out?"
She was 19. I was 22. And dates were hard to come by because she had Kendra. You know, she had Kendra super early.
Yeah.
So at the time, Kendra was 3, just turned 4. So a lot of the early stage dates were just like her coming to my crib, my mom's crib, not my crib, and watching movies and, you know, eating some dinner and chilling. And sometimes it would just be the park. And we'd go hang out at the park or go swim for hours just because that's what Kendra loved to do. So that was a lot of our early dates. And then, yeah.
Mine,
John.
I was 15. Desiree was 15. And our first date, I already had a car by then. Like I wasn't supposed to be driving, but I was driving. I had a Camaro.
Balling.
And so I had it all planned out. I had roses. I was all dressed up, picked her up in my Camaro. I'm surprised they even let her come with me. Like I wasn't even supposed to be driving. And then I took her to a Chinese buffet. I don't know if it's a Mexican thing.
I don't know. We like Chinese. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, but for me, I thought it was high maintenance. Like I always see people dressed up when I ate at this place. It's called Hong Kong. And so I remember picking her up, coming in, getting all dressed up, give her the roses, took her to Hong Kong, had a Chinese buffet. And I also remember her not eating as much, right? I was there slamming food, doing all this kind of good stuff. And that was like my first official date, like of going out. The first date with Desiree was I took her to the movies and we watched dodgeball and we made out the entire time. Like that was like their first official date. But by myself, solo, like me paying for stuff and feeling, you know, good at age 15, it was Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And it's funny we mentioned this because I also bring this date up. She's like, yeah, every time I got in your car, it always smelled like you were farting. But she's never mentioned anything at all. But I always get nervous. Like when I was around her, it's like I was game day. You know, anybody who played sports, you get the bubble guts. I would get that every time I would go and knowing I'm going to go pick her up. And so I was gassy, like the whole rate. I would lower the window down. But I thought I was fresh. I had my, 15. I had cologne galore.
Yeah, like the curve.
Axe body spray.
Yeah. Nautica was my thing. Nautica.
Nautica Voyage.
You too?
Yeah, Nautica was my thing.
I had the Nautica too.
I had that too.
So I thought I was in the clear, but apparently, as I tell these stories now, she's like, brother, I smelt it every single time.
Oh my, that's
how I knew she was the one, dog.
I know, right?
Soaked it in, embraced it.
Yeah. So Ian, we got a good topic today. Speaking about Valentine's Day, Ian, I'm gonna swing it your way, baby.
Yeah, relationships, man, they're a fickle thing. There's no real way, a perfect way to be in a relationship. And I myself, just based off doing research for this podcast, realize is there are some areas that I just suck, like really, really bad in. But that's solely due to just being so hard-headed and closed-minded and then uneducated. So by doing this, I was able to educate myself on the different types of like love and affection. Like some people like when their significant other does tasks for them just to kind of make their day easier. Some like words of affirmation, some like just physical contact, like being hugged and kissed constantly. And it just kind of helps them mentally just to be reassured that this person's in it for the long haul. So I kind of have a question for each of you is what style of affection or lover are you? Are you that person that likes hearing words and, you know?
So what you're speaking of is the love language. Everyone has a love language, right? You can have one or two of them. And this goes off the book, Love Language. Ian, did you read that book? I remember giving it to you, or you mentioned it to you a long time ago, because it changed my relationship with my kids and my wife. And of course, my friends to some degree. It's hard with my relationship with my friends. I'll talk about that later. It gets a little different in my head when it shouldn't be. But anyways, my love language is physical touch and quality time. I gotta have this physical touch. I gotta love you. I gotta hold you. I gotta caress you. I gotta kiss you. I love physical touch. And then my next one, it really fills up my love tank. Is just quality time. Like, I just want to be with you in the present and just talk. Oh my gosh, that makes me so freaking happy. What about you guys? What's the 5? Does anybody know the 5? Affirmation, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, physical touch, gift giving.
Gift giving.
All 5. There you go. What do y'all?
Yeah, for me, I'm kind of like the second one as far as John. I just like quality time. That's really it. We don't have to be doing anything extravagant, or shoot, we couldn't even we like if we talk, that's cool. If we don't, I'm cool too. Like as long as we're doing like if we're together doing something. I mean, I'm take that back.
I gotta talk.
Yeah, for me, I was not taking it back. You gotta talk some, obviously, but for me, is just spending time. Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything. I'm not real much of a gift. Like if you give me gifts, like I love that, and but like it doesn't like make me, feel
It doesn't
love.
turn you on.
Yeah, no, it does not.
This jacket.
Depends on the gift. I'm just kidding. Real man gifts. I'm just kidding.
Real man gifts.
But yeah, another thing for me is just joking around, like bagging on other folks, like the back and forth. Y'all know me and John, they go back and forth a lot.
The banter.
That's like our love language.
I love it.
I grew up with my brother and my sister, my dad, my mom. We bag on each other all the time.
But let me clarify, that only works when it's our love language, because if you start doing it to somebody else that's not their love language, they can get emotional about it and get hurt and feel some type of way. That's why it works with us, because we have some degree of we're very similar.
Yeah, my wife is not like that. My wife is not the opposite, but she'll joke around a little bit, but after a while, she gets pissed.
Yeah. So you can give it. Yeah.
So I rather find lies sometimes.
You can give it to me all you want, Victor.
So, that's me. It's really just time and just joking around.
What you got, Chris?
No, I agree with that too. For me, it's mostly about the quality time, and I do like to joke around a lot too. Like my wife says I joke too much sometimes, but
man, we don't even get that. Like on our text, I don't even give it to us, man. I'm like, when is this joking coming around? He's always talking about joking. I'm like, where is this at? Can you give it to us?
He has the clean like chuckles, you know what I'm saying?
No, you don't even know.
all right, damn.
Man.
No, but and then I don't know. It was funny. One time I was with my wife and one of our friends, and they were asking me what my love language was, because we were talking about that topic, and I could not think of what to say. And then I was trying to think about it. I was like, I like it when you leave me alone when I'm not when I'm kind of and it came off bad. It didn't even come off the way I meant it. I was like, when I'm not feeling good, she just doesn't bug me.
And I like that.
Lets me do it. But it sounded like, oh, I like it when you just leave me alone.
He's a douchebag. I'm glad you brought that up though, because most people listening have no idea what love language is.
Yeah. So I guess I would say maybe I like just being able to cuddle with her on the couch and watch TV and stuff like that, or just talk or whatever. So a little bit of, I guess, physical touch and just like you said, the quality time. Yeah.
Ian, what you got, my man?
For me, man, what's crazy is I'm an emotional driven person, but I don't know, quality time is like my number 3. My top 2 really are words of affirmation for me. I know I'm doing good for my family just by looking at them, but like I love hearing their appreciation through word, because obviously you can get it sometimes physically, but just for me, hearing the words come from their mouth lets me know that they took the time to think of something and then come to me to tell me it, right? So like, thanks for this, or thanks for that, or you're doing great at this. It kind of drives the ego a little bit, helps the libido.
Yeah.
But that's probably my number one. It's just words of affirmation.
So I don't want to get on this topic too much because I know Ian got some things planned for us, but it's cool to know your love language. The real secret is, do you know the love language of your spouse?
That's what we're going to next. So thanks for the segue.
Yeah. I didn't know what you had planned, but I was like,
you're
wait
good.
a minute.
That was actually number two. And that's the hardest part, I think, for a lot of people. Like you're stuck in this one way for so long. And then you have this person that you're attracted to physically and emotionally to a certain extent, but then you get to the point where it's like you're just trying to love on them, hug on them, and then you're this Chris, the other person's Chris. You're like, you know what? I need space. They give you the Heisman just because that's not their style. So it becomes, I'm trying to put words together off of a TED talk I saw, but they say, be careful, not crushing. Like you have to acknowledge their style of love, but not crush them, to like mold them into the person that you are as a lover, right?
You're forcing it's easy. We force our love language onto others, and then we expect them to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Vic.
Oh no, I was gonna say it took me a while to learn my wife's love language. So we used to clash a lot in the beginning. Like I would do something and I was like, and that wasn't what she was like expecting. I was like, damn, that was something I would like, like, but I never like connect when I was younger, like when we were like in the early 20s. And so it took me a while.
So here's a good example. Desi we'd be like, we'll get into an argument. Desi's like, you're just not loving me, right? We all been to that point. I'm not feeling love from you, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I give you quality time. I'm, physical touch. I'm loving you, giving you quality time.
I love you, baby.
And we really couldn't understand where this was rooting from, because we weren't trying to work on our marriage and our relationship. So we are clueless. When you're closed-minded, like you're just clueless about a lot of things that you should be doing, but you just don't know what you should be doing. So there's a lot of frustration built up. And now we kept going with this battle. She's like, you're just not loving me. And she couldn't explain herself. I couldn't explain myself because, man, I'm giving you my love. This is my love. Like, what's wrong with you? Can you not see everything I'm doing for you? Is it not good enough? And so I feel inadequate. I'm really giving her my love. And then when you start to realize, so let me bring it back, because I think Ian made a good point. Ian, this is where you need to enter a quote, or this is where I need to, before you enter the quote, we need to come to the exception that when we are growing up, we are downloading other people's perspectives of what things should be like. We don't go to school for relationships. School doesn't teach you relationships. It doesn't teach you spouse work and, building that to make sure that that's good. So we only learn from what we see, right? What our parents gave us, what you may see your neighbors act like, or whatever the case may be. That is all you know. You don't have no education, like Ian said, about this. And so you just think that because you see something, this is what it should be. And so help me go around where I was at with this. Ian, you said a quote. What is the quote by Einstein?
Yeah, so Einstein says, and this can apply to everything, but for relationship purposes, you cannot solve a problem with the same level of thinking that got you there.
Okay, so me and Desi, we kept arguing about this. If we aren't learning or growing, it's just going to be a cycle of the same thing. We're not growing anymore. We're not trying to intentionally get better. And it didn't start shifting until I started reading about, I didn't start self-developing. So that's when things started clicking. I was like, whoa, okay, wait, we're getting frustrated. You have love tanks. I have love tanks. I'm filling mine with yours and they're not filling yours. Yours are very empty. I'm not filling what you want. I'm giving you what I already have. That would have never clicked if I didn't do any kind of self-education about relationships. And I think that's where most people in general stand, because at age 18, what happens at age 18? We stop becoming students. You literally stop learning. And then so
Well,
all
I
the
mean, if you go to
collections.
college, then maybe say
Well,
about
how many
22.
people go to college, brother? I mean, it's like still, but you're not
Yeah.
learning about relationships unless you're
Yeah.
specifically going to psychology. So we're still talking about the masses. Whenever you have an issue, you just stop learning. And no school system is going to teach you about self-development. No school system is going to teach you how to handle relationships, obstacles, problems, financial literacy, none of that. And so whenever you have a problem, we don't ever go to self-education, because why? At age 18, what do? We just shut things off, dude. We just shut things off. And you only want to open your mind to where you're trying to go. Like now it's like career, money, focus, my job, promotion, job. Like that's like everything else is on the back burner.
Everyday life. Yeah. So self-education is definitely key. But one thing I think all of a majority of us have a hard time simply doing one thing, and that's just simply asking. We'd rather assume something than ask. So like you're battling, and you're assuming that you're loving her the right way, when a quick and easy fix is, babe, I love it. I'm doing this. Clearly it's not working. How do you want me to change it? What do you need me to change? What do you see as love? And then boom, list comes, at that point, okay, what I do or what I like is not her style either.
Yeah, for me, it's something I learned. All that is like super true. And then for me, it was just being more. You got to be more paying attention to details, like listening. So like my wife, and she does that today, and I still like need to improve on that. She'll say things. She'll like say things, hint on things, and like sometimes you don't catch on. I don't know if it's because I'm a man, but you gotta you gotta pay attention to the hints, to the details, the things are like it could be any relationship, could be romantic, could be friendship, could be family. Any hints that will kind of give you right the signals of what their love language is, what do they like, what do they prefer, what makes them happy, what makes them tick, what makes them what makes them angry, right? We're talking about what the good things, but also you got to learn not just their love language, you got to also learn what makes them upset, what makes the thing go downward. You got to know.
That's alluding to what Ian's talking about. You got to go straight to the source. You can't just try to pay attention and assume. That goes back to assuming. You're like, oh, well, this did this and that did that. That's all assumption. Hey, babe, you got to go straight to, like, you got to at least put your pride to the side. You're doing something wrong. Take ownership. Something's wrong, and go straight to the source.
As much as don't. Oh, go ahead. As much as we try to, we cannot read minds. There's no magic power, and it's not a man thing. I think everybody does it, regardless of the combination of the spouses on each side. Everybody tries to like mind read or expect the other to mind read. Like Steph jokes with me. I'm like, "Why didn't know you want me to do that?" And she'll be like, "Well, you should have just read my mind."
You should have known. What the?
That's actually what I was just about to talk about.
I didn't know I had that power. But go
ahead. That was actually what I was just about to talk about, because communication is the biggest thing. But the problem is, one party, like one person in the relationship, may hint at things where they think they're telling you what they want, but they're just telling you little things that are maybe related, but not actually telling you what they want. And the other person like doesn't catch on because
oblivious, like me. I'm oblivious to a lot of things.
Yeah, because like you're not actually specifying what it is that you want me to do, or vice versa. And
now you're being defensive.
And then you get mad that they don't do it. And so it's like you said, you can't read minds.
That's where frustration occurs, right? When like one of the spouses like, you should know, or like, I was hinting at you, all this, so how come you didn't catch on? And the other person's like, well, I didn't know, like, then boom, frustration. Like, how do you avoid that, right?
Yeah, people are just more upfront about what they actually wanted. Things would go a lot smoother, but that's not always easy to do or say.
So it will be like steps. Like, let's say there's like,
First step is setting expectations with your spouse. Like, I'll give you a clean example. Last baby we had, baby Kai, Desi was getting frustrated with me in her head. of why I wasn't being more of a help. Why wasn't I changing diapers? Why wasn't I reloading things that need to be reloaded? How come I'm not helping? And in my head, I felt like I was helping. I felt like I was changing the diapers when needed. I felt like I was giving her time. So she was getting super frustrated. I was getting super frustrated because getting mad. And then I was like, this is at the point where I already started reading. I was like, oh, boom, I figured it out. We need to have some expectations set. What exactly do you want from me so I can give it to you? So now we learned, baby, the last baby number 4, she's like, baby, I'm going to have this basket and it's going to have diapers, it's going to have water, it's going to have snacks, it's going to have all my essentials that I need. I want you to be ensured every night that this is full. She's laying out the expectations. She's telling me everything that I need to know so I can be successful on her end. And so now I'm not blindsided when she blows up. I'm aware. So if she gets mad and the stuff is not being met, I can't get mad at her. Oh, because I committed to these expectations. We agreed upon it. Thank you so much. There was great communication on both sides. We both understand. And so that's the first step, is you got to set guidelines and expectations. We all have expectations of the people who we want to call our spouse, right? It's called dating. We have these expectations. There should be expectations inside your marriage to keep it going. Like, why stop?
Yeah, that's good. One other to add to that, to the expectations is, for me, I had like a similar situation, different. So my wife's a big germaphobe, super germaphobe.
Which is why she didn't kiss you after Chinese food.
Probably, boy.
That makes a lot of sense.
No, she developed that germophobia.
She saw the crusty lips. She was like,
"Give me some chapstick, dog. Let me help you out,
bro. What's going on, dog?" Anyway, but it was a situation to where my son was done eating in his chair, and then he was throwing all the food on the floor. So she was telling me directions and stuff like that. Hey, can you help him? So I put him down, and then he was eating stuff off the floor. So, and he's like, stop doing that. Like, stop him. And to me, I didn't react quickly enough to that. So I was like, so in her mind, and this is what I'm gonna get to, is she thought I was letting him do it. Because she knows for me, it's not a big, like, germs is not a big deal. So in her mind, her perception was he doesn't care he doesn't care about me, my feelings, this is so important to me. He doesn't care. In my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm getting this done. I'm going to do it. But in her mind, I didn't react fast enough. So setting expectations, but also making not only just on the content, but how you actually do it. Like don't wait, like let's say the basket, right? What if you don't do it at the time that she wants you to do it? Like, she expected to do it not only in the morning, maybe you're doing it in the evening, and then that bursts into an argument again. So now, no expectation, but specifically when you do it. So we blew up. I'll tell you, we blew up, boy. That was a big blow up. We had a big fight.
Yeah.
But then, like, we didn't talk. We gave ourselves space, like 2 days, and then came back and talked it. One other thing I want to add to is, if there is like too much clash, you guys need like a little, like, all right, I have programmed myself to, and that's in all situations, to, especially with my wife, because we at a moment in time we have big personalities. It's come to a point. I'm a very mellow guy, but when I blow up, when I reach a point of no return, I'm super savage, and like I say things that I regret.
I think everybody gets to that point, brother.
That's a good segue, Vic, because point number 3 for me was actually they called it emotional regulation, and it's understanding the feelings that you have.
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah. So it's kind of just keeping them in check, accepting what you're feeling and tolerating it, but don't let it get to the point to where you say that one thing and literally when it's all done, 2 minutes later, you're like, crap, I shouldn't have said that. I could have made my point a different way. Because not only does it does, if you can tolerate it and keep it in check, the argument's still there, but it's done and it didn't end worse than it should have. But it also maintains a sense of self-respect for yourself and a sense of respect for your spouse as well. So it doesn't, you don't go down that deeper hole of just the abyss that you created by saying, well, she points at you and you say, well, you did this, and then drops mic and walk off. Like that's just hell that's coming back around.
So let me go into this real quick. When we argue, man, this, once again, everything we're talking about can be learned. You have to put effort. It's all development. It's all knowledge, right? And so one thing that changed our relationship, not just the love language book, but Jocko Extreme Ownership. And
I got that book.
I flipped Desi. Like one day, I was reading, and this is the book that just changed the game for real. Because we would get into arguments and it'd be he say, she say, right? He say, she say. But when you take extreme ownership, you step out of your shoes and you look at your mistakes, and then you know you guys made a mistake when you blow up. Like you made a mistake, but your ego and their ego, it doesn't allow you to say sorry or take extreme ownership. And so you go off on 1, 2 days, 3 days of not talking, and it's because who's gonna talk first? Who's gonna do, like, you play this game that we've been playing when we were kids, right? Because we learned this as kids because we have no sense of how relationships work. So as teenagers, you do something wrong, I'm mad at you, you're mad at me, who's gonna cave in first? And it even gets to the point where it's so dumb that I forgot what we were arguing about, bro. That's how you know how immature you're acting, right?
Being
and
petty.
So we were doing this till age 26 until I started self-development, started actually looking into it. So like I said, if you're not putting new programs and softwares, you're not going to get any better. You're probably going to get worse. And so taking extreme ownership at this point now, when we blow up or something case may happen, it's a light switch. I take extreme ownership. I'm like, baby girl, wait a minute. You know what? I'm sorry. Hey, I know you're mad, but I need to let you know, not just I'm sorry, but I'm going to take everything on me. I should not, this is the things that I should not have done. I apologize right now. I'm looking at you. We don't even need to go on 2 days, 3 days. Like we don't need to do that, because that is time that we don't have. You could be like, I always go back. You could be gone tomorrow. How would I feel about that? So now you do need a little grace period, but 1 to 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, put your ego to the side. You need to take some extreme ownership, and we got to work through this like mature people. I wouldn't say mature people. We know better because now we are reading. Back then we didn't know better. So we didn't know better, but now we know better how to handle these situations. And I make mistakes all the time, fellas. And y'all know that. I'll be the first one to be like, "Ooh, I'm sorry. Hey, how can I get better at this?" Because I don't want it to linger. There's no sense for it to linger. It doesn't make any sense. It does nobody any good. Let's calm down. Get the emotions
I was gonna
out.
say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, your relationship can't be a competition. So I mean, you can't just keep going back and forth and trying to one up each other, because in the end, there's not going to be a winner. There's just going to be 2 losers.
Say it again. You're what?
Jesus.
Where was this at?
Stop time.
I said your relationship can't be a competition, because if you keep trying to one up each other, in the end, there's not going to be a winner. There's just going to be 2 losers.
And it happens, right? It's like you feel like it's a competition. Like I need to win. Like I'm right. But what Jonathan's saying, what you're saying, is that you guys take ownership. You got to step back and say, okay, what did I do wrong? I need to own that, right? You got to be, what is that? Humility. You got to be humble yourself. Oh, humble pie is it's hard to swallow.
Yeah,
hard to swallow, but
thick. Humble pie is thick.
Yeah. So to add to that, I was gonna say, for me, what I've learned, and I haven't dug deep into books as far as relationship books, like y'all have, but it's just
you learn from experience. I mean, that's how majority of people try to learn. Yeah,
I know I'm the mellow, I'm the calm person in the relationship. I can speak to you like this. We could be having a heated debate, but my voice don't change. I'm like,
not me.
So my wife is different. She goes to 100, boom. She's emotional off the top. Not women are emotional. I mean, use emotion. Anger is an emotion, right? I don't want to say women are emotional. Don't want to get there, but just saying.
It's not just women. It's just
in general,
specific to women.
Yeah,
I'm just like her.
So in our relationship,
quick.
In our dynamic, I'm the mellow guy. She's the 100. So I have to bring her down from 100. So what we kind of just worked out is like, I said, we kind of talked about it. I said, all right, when you get upset and I see you at 100, I'm going to step back. We're going to like calm down and be like, let's take a quick little grace period, little break. Let's calm down, because she won't think. She's just super upset.
You can't make good decisions when you get that hot.
Like nothing's coming in. Coming in.
So Desi's the same way. Desi exact same. We're both the exact same way, but I learned how to dial it back down real fast so I can see, oh shit, this is what I did. Desi, she'll take it up there, but I know Desi, Desi doesn't like humble pie. And she could tell you real fast, this is one thing that she's working on, is taking ownership. Because I'll be the first one in every problem we have, I'll take ownership right off the bat. And I know she's working on it, so I'll let her slide. And she knows she takes ownership an hour and a half later when she can able to think. And I'll get a long text message of
those essays. Boy, you get those essays. Oh, I get those essays.
She's all like, okay.
Gracie gets an essay too.
she needs time. She needs at least a good hour or two to kind of step back, so let her emotions calm down. Because when you run with your emotions, it's not great, because you're so narrow. You become a victim, right? You become a victim. You're being attacked. But when that comes down, that's when Desi's like, oh, okay, I get you. And I'm more just, let's just nip it in the butt. Like, I'm sorry right now, and this is why. And I take extreme ownership. I should not, right?
Yeah, like me and Chris are naturally like that. Remember we talked about our strengths and weaknesses? We naturally try to get over things quick. Like, but there's relationships, I'm talking with my wife, but just in general as well. My sister's the same way, is that some folks don't get over things quickly. It's just not something that comes as a natural.
So right? I want to combat that. I want to combat that because I'm 0 to 100. Desi's 0 to 100. But in this game of self-development, you got to evolve.
There you go.
You have to evolve, because if I didn't evolve, we'd still be 0 to 100 and we wouldn't be getting nowhere. So that is the game. If you're listening to this podcast, this is the game of self-development. You have to evolve. Like whatever you're doing now, you have to change it. You have to grow. So everything we say, if you're closed-minded, you're going to be in attack mode. You're going to be play victim, because you might be doing some of these things, but it's a necessary burn to maybe open your eyes like, ooh, I do that. I need to stay open-minded. Let me go ahead and be curious on how I can make myself better. You got to evolve, right?
That's a good point. In one note that I kind of picked up listening to these YouTube videos and books and things was, naturally fight or flight. It's a selfish reaction to our body. Like you can't do that with a partner. So when it comes to relationship, that fight or flight little syndrome that pops up, you need to be able to tame it, because again, it's not just you. You have it's like you're one now with somebody. So your choice can't determine both people's outcomes. So when it comes to that zero, because that's me 100%, the 0 to 100, like Steph calls me out and I hear it and I see it an hour later, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. I bring up a problem and I just talk and I talk and I talk and I talk and I try and beat my point into her head to where she just shuts down. So it's not even constructive for me anymore, because she's not hearing the feedback, I guess I'm trying to say, which leads me to another point, was connect before you correct. Like I'm just completely pushing away her love language, and I'm not even valuing or appreciating the things that she's trying to help me see in myself and understand in myself. And anything that is coming from her, I see as like a negative feedback.
Yeah, I want to add to that, just on that point, because I was actually listening to a podcast with Eric Thomas, where like sometimes like you get people in your life, they're in your life to help you in some way, in fashion, form, right? For him, he was saying how his wife like helped him. He didn't know it at the time, right? Was helping him in certain areas in his personality, in his life that needed improvement. And he would say like, God, I need help with this, I need help with that. But his wife was actually the one helping him, but he was fighting it. He kept fighting like, no, this is what I should do it. This is, but
this is my game. This is my this is my game. Like you don't play this game.
Yeah.
But she's in the back
until
see.
he accepted his wife like that, what he was helping, or like not criticism, but like the feedback she was giving him, till he accepted that. Then he started evolving.
Yeah.
Growing. So sometimes it is the person you're with, like you're saying, like Ian, like you're not listening, right? Or like your partner helps you evolve as well. Like listening to that other person, what they're saying, it does have value, because like you said, own up to your mistakes. And then that sometimes it's hard to swallow, but sometimes what the other person is telling you is right. You're like, damn, you're right. Like, I gotta change this. And that's when evolution happens, right?
Now,
Yeah,
I
for
do
sure.
want to say be careful, because when we're speaking spouses, one person can't be grown and the other one cannot be. Like, this needs to be an agreement upon both of you, right? Y'all have to grow together. You're growing apart. That's one of the reasons why there's so many divorces, is because the failure to work on a relationship and grow together. Because we get older, things change, taste buds change, your mental game change, everything changes. And if you guys aren't forcing y'all together and growing through these things, you're just going to be growing apart, right?
Yeah,
One person starts your fitness journey, one person doesn't. Bro, you already started a separation. You already started a separation that you aren't seeing, and then it's going to get further and further and further and further away.
and that's an issue with a lot of relationships, is because they don't want to work on it. Like, they don't want to put in the work to get past the difficult times. And that's another reason why you see so many divorces, is because they just want to stay in their, and like we were talking about comfort zone last week, like they just kind of want to stay in their comfort zone. They don't want to grow. They don't want to change their ways for the person that they supposedly love. So like, if they're not willing to put in that effort, both sides, if they're not willing to put in that effort, like you said, you're going to grow apart.
It's hard though, Chris, because our culture, we aren't raised to work on relationships.
It is hard.
Like, we're not raised. It's not something that my family, anybody's family does. We don't read books about relationships. This is how we handle relationships, and that's how you're going to go off in the world and handle your relationships. So that brings a good point, because at age 18 or age whatever, I just want to bring, let's just say I have a character, like a made up character. His name is, let's say Isaac. Yeah, let's just say Isaac. His name is Isaac, right? He's a kid and he's going through a lot of bad relationships. And so your parents are like, Mijo, you're just choosing the bad relationship. You're just choosing the bad relationships, right? Is he getting any better?
No, I think he's bouncing from person to person, relationship to relationship.
We're expecting him to know how to handle relationships. Like, we're expecting this of him because we never knew it like this, because we're expecting him because this is how we did it. We're just going to go through a lot of bad relationships and then learn off experience. Do you know how much heart and scar that you have to go through, and how much walls that you're going to now be putting up every single time you go through these relationships? That's when true. You can just learn about it at an early age, right? I wish this was in the school system, how to handle relationships with others, your spouses, your friends, because when you go out in the world, for some reason, we expect you to be good at relationships. We expect you to know how to handle money. We expect you to know how to do these things, but they're never taught. So we can't get mad at the kid, Isaac, for having these bad relationships. But the parents keep getting like, dude, it's not your fault, brother. Like, let's go back, let's reevaluate, let's actually learn, and let's grow from this.
Another big factor, I think, if you don't mind, Vic, is there isn't, like you said, Jonathan, there is no course or class that they teach us in relationships. So I think that's why it's so important for us now, especially who are parents right now, to get it down, because your kids are seeing everything that happens between you and your spouse right now. So that's what they learn. So they see, mom or dad or, parent yelling at another parent, and disagreeing, yelling, arguing, then that's all they know. So they're going to take that into every relationship that they have. Whereas if you show love and affection and understanding and being able to just keep those emotions in check with your spouse, that's what they see, and that's what they're going to carry on.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Good. All right.
Okay.
No, but
Go,
somebody
Vic.
speak up.
Go, right.
Man.
Go, Vic. Go, Vic.
Real quick, and I'll give it to you, Chris. One of the things you got to be purposeful. You mentioned children. I purposely have conversations with my son. When he's upset, he says some rude or little thing. I'm like disrespectful type of thing. I'm like, hey, bring it down. Let's talk about it. So there's one moment that he blew up. I was like, he blew up at his mom. And like that like drove me like, oh my God, that got me to 100. So I said I was super bad, and I said I did that. What I do, emotional intelligence. I was like, go to your room real quick. Go to your room quick. Just go to your room. And then I followed up. I let him. He was tearing. He was so bad. He was crying. So, but I talked to him and I said, hey, like we talked through like. It's all right to get upset. To get, it's good. It's okay to get upset. Now, what you got upset about, I'm not okay with, but you gotta learn how to handle that. So I was teaching him how to manage his emotions, how to communicate. I was like, if something bothers you, I know you're growing up, got your own personality, you can be independent. You're not a kid no more. I get it, right? And so, but like you gotta learn how to communicate. If something bothers you, tell me. I'm not gonna say, Dad, I hate that, or it bothers me. I hate when you say this. I don't like when you say that. Or when you guys telling me how to do this and that. That's cool. Let's talk it through. What's a better way to do it? All right. So I'm teaching him how to purposely have this conversation so he knows how to handle relationships better in his future, and he's more successful in his relationships, when he's out the house.
Nice. What I was going to bring up was Jonathan was talking about Isaac, and he like every time he breaks up, they're like, "Oh, you just haven't found the right one," and that's something that we have to be careful with too, because like you always hear, "Oh, there's plenty of fish in the sea," and this and that, but sometimes you have to look at yourself, because how many times do you see someone that's been married like 6 times and it's never their fault? It's always the other person's fault. I just haven't found the
right one. Yep.
Yeah, I just haven't found the right one. So like at some point you have to self-reflect and say like, what am I doing wrong?
I made a post about that.
Where I could, did you?
Yeah, I made a post exactly like that because I did it in fitness. I tried all these workouts, they don't work. What was the common denominator?
You.
Exactly.
You, brother.
Yeah, insight is key, and that's what I try and tell my daughter. Like, she's in middle school, so like, Lord, from like 4th grade until now, it's just like, oh, little boyfriend, this and that, he likes me. I'm like, no, you need to find Kendra now, because
you got to find yourself, brother.
Yeah, if you don't find yourself, then you really can't, when you're of age and ready for it, physically, mentally, emotionally, you can't truly give yourself to someone 100% love wise and be okay. Like if you're still trying to mold to someone else's need, then you're kind of SOL at that point.
So we're going to relationships. We're still speaking about relationships, but as far as family comes and being a father, I got one job as a father, and that's I think more of a primal way of raising my kids. So if you see it on Discovery Channel, their main role as maybe a tiger or a lion, they have their cubs, right? They got to teach their cubs to how to do what? Go out, survive the real world. Is their main role is to make sure they have all the tools necessary that they go out and survive the real world. So I treat it the same way. Now I expect my kids to have failures and mess up, and I love it. Like I love it. Let's learn from it. But I have to make sure that my kids, when they leave this nest, that they are already working on all these things to make sure that they are going to be as good to go as they possibly can. Now, they're not going to be perfect, but we work on relationships now. We work on financial literacy now. We work on entrepreneurship. We work on working out. We work on everything that you need to kind of have a good, strong foundation so that when you go out there, you're going to be how to cook for yourself, right? Like all these basic things, putting the toilet seat down, cleaning up after yourself, working out, keeping your forever student mindset, learning that stuff now so that when they're out there, they have a stronger possibility of doing whatever they want to get through these things because we're working on it now. And I think that's super important. Anybody out there, we just can't expect our kids to go out and learn how to cook. We can't just expect our kids to learn about money. And it's really hard when you don't even know about money yourself. So there's a lot of this expectation that you want your kids to do, but you can't even do it yourself. So this is if you're listening to this podcast, I hope that forever learning about whenever you have an issue or problem, be so curious enough to find out, is there a solution or is there a better way?
Yeah. We're mostly talking about, you mentioned family. And so we're mostly talking about just like spouses, right? Like in romantic relationships, but also we don't want to ignore that you also have, friendships, family.
Let's go into friendships.
And so that is a big deal. I grew up not having, I guess, not valuing friendships as much. I had to do, I kind of learned that. My wife is different. She values friendships a lot. Like friendships to her is like really up there in her priority when it comes to relationships. Me, I'm a little different. I had to kind of work on it. And so with me, it's like out of sight, out of mind. That is still a little like something that I'm working on. So from a relationship standpoint, from like friendships or family, if you're not around me, I'm probably not gonna have contact with you.
Same.
So that's something that I had to really work on, which I started really doing better a little bit last year, but this year's purposely calling my dad, calling my mom. They live in LA, California. Texting with my brother, my sister, maybe FaceTime here and there, ask them how they doing. Not just happy birthday when their birthday comes around, not saying happy Thanksgiving when happy, like actually making a purpose at least once or twice a month to have like build their relationship, even though they're not around. So that's something that I'm working on. And also, like I said, it happens a time when a family member passes away, and then you see, you hear a lot of people say, man, I wish I could have spent more time. I wish I could have done this, right? So I don't want that to be me. Like, I don't want it to be me. I want to be able to say, hey, I did spend the time and stuff like that. I have regrets. There's some friendships that I've lost that I don't know how to get back,
Well, Austin, that's you got to take that with a grain of salt. There's double-sided blade there. Because as what we're learning right now in self-development, you have to be able to change your environment for you to get where you need to go. And if somebody is putting maybe just whoever they are, if they're not on that same playing field, they're going to be pulling you down. And it's not a bad thing, but you have to protect your environment. So if my goals and dreams and what I'm trying to do for my family is, doing the blueprint of leaving a legacy, right? Generation wealth of being a 1% mindset and executor. If I have one person that's in my life who is just going through life, not really being intentional with what they want to do, that could now drain my energy, leak out into me. And actually, I kind of evolve a little bit with that person. And there's actually science behind it. There's so many studies in the book I'm reading right now. There's so many studies that you have to protect. Even though you may love that person, you have to be very respectful with your space, your energy, and the people you hang out with. Even if it's just that one person that you may be thinking, oh, they're going to catch on, you still opening yourself a small window of gaining what they're doing. And it could leak into your life and really destroy your life. There's a lot of studies that no matter how much you love that person, and I'm not speaking family, I'm speaking friends now, like circle of friends. Just want to put that in context, that you just have to be careful who you surround yourself, because that one quote of you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with, it's so true. But they also said even that one person, even just one person who may be way down here, who doesn't intentionally want to ruin your life, but they're not on the same vision and the same path that you are with your life and what you're trying to do for your family, it could leak into your life. And really, it could be inch by inch, inch by inch, inch by inch. You may be able to see it every day, but in the course of 6 months, years, and 2 years, it could potentially ruin your life. So you do have to be careful who you let around.
Yeah. I was gonna say real quick before I knew you were gonna say something. Is that you gotta know as well who to cut off and who to keep. Like there's some.
I'm not just saying like cut off, be completely savage, right? Because that's what I'm normally am to do. But you just have to know
relationships that are harmful.
Boom. You put it. Thank you.
That are harmful to you, that you gotta evaluate and say, and you know, because you love that person, you don't want to do anything. But if they're harming you, right? Like
it's unintentional. Yeah. They don't know they're harming you.
It's kind of like you got to make a choice. But yeah, but there's some, when I was referring to just like unintentionally just like drifted, we were like super good, but just unintentional, just, you know.
Yeah. No, that's kind of what I was getting at too. So Jonathan, you make a good point, is that if it's if they have a toxic personality and they don't know they got to go, because they're going to drain you, bring you down, and deter you from your life goals, right? But to Victor's point, you said you don't know how to fix it, right? And it's something as simple as sending a text message just saying hi, or hey, how's it going? I know it's been a while. Because for someone that may have a mindset like mine, where it's really emotion driven and word of affirmation driven, we couldn't have talked for 2 years, and the fallout in my mind would have been like, okay, I did something wrong. And for those 2 years, I thought I might have messed up. But the simple text at that point could literally save someone's life. Not knowing what their background is, or what how the life's going, it could save someone's life, in a sense of like, you bring them back up. Like, man, I really miss this dude. He was my boy. And they don't necessarily have to bring any quote unquote value to your goals. It's just the fact that relationship is there and there's a connection. Because for me, I have 2 friends, and I've always had a really, really small circle. Like, I'm a very caring person. Like, if we're close, I got you back every single day of the week. But I'm also very cautious of who I let in my circle. So if you're in my circle, you're in my circle. Like, if someone rolls up to your house trying to throw hands, I'll be there in 2 seconds. But I have 2 friends that are in high school, and there's been times where we've just kind of drifted apart, like just stopped talking. Like, one lives in Dallas, one lives in Tennessee. And I do my best just to be like, hey, dude, what's going on? We talk for like 5 minutes every week, every other week, because I do it so that I don't get in the position that Victor brought up. And, you know, God takes them early from this world. I don't want to be like, I should have talked to them more, or man, I really missed them, or I wish I had a bit more time. So that's why I kind of do those things. Even a simple text. Hey, what's up, man? What you doing? You watching the fight? Watching
I love
sports?
that text, because I have some friends that do that. Hey, brother, I just want to make sure you're good. You straight? It's not like we have to be in my circle. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not in my circle no more. We used to be in the same circle. You're not anymore, whatever the case may be. But that text that I got, I was like, oh shit. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Like, that was enough to let him know. And I think in Chris's book right now, how to
win friends and influence people.
Yeah, I think that's actually in there, is make sure you're keeping tabs on the people that are around you, because they, like Kean said, you never know what the situation may be. They might need it, and that could help somebody. But I want to go,
What's up, I was just gonna say, because I've always been someone like Vic's wife. Like, my relationships with people are very important to me, and just like when you put in all that effort to try to keep in contact with them, and they might not respond back, or they just were very short with you, it's like, it is draining. And like, it's not that you don't care about them, it's not that they don't care about you, but there is a certain time where you just need to stop trying with certain people. Like, and if you could still throw a text out here and there, but you're not really going to expect much from them.
Yeah. So what we got? You want to wrap it up? Want to make some good tangible points?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Popcorn style. What's one takeaway? I think I'll drop it off first, is that whenever you got a problem, you need to what? You need to be curious, and you need to find, is there a better way? Like, whenever you have a situation, a problem, anything that's going on in your life, be curious enough. Is there a better way? And go do your research. YouTube, books, a mentor, go pay for a class, go get professional help.
Yeah, the other thing is just know the other person's love language, all right, in a relationship. Learn, what they need words of affirmation, they like gifts, all those things. Make sure you put in the time to know that person. And what to Ian's point, she mentioned, just go to the source. Go to the source, ask the questions, have that conversation, take some humble pie. Let's do it.
Yeah, I would say just leave the competition on the court or on the field. Like just your relationship is supposed to be a unity, so don't make it into competition.
That was a good one. I'm going to
Oh,
screen record that.
That's going on the IG for sure. No, for me, man, the big nugget was from Jonathan's examples, just setting those boundaries and guidelines. I find myself doing not enough of that. I just think it's my way, the highway, and that ain't, man. It's not gonna work that way. I will drive this ship into the depths of the ocean if I keep doing that. So, all right, boys, that's a good topic. It was nice. I liked it. So final Super Bowl predictions with scores. Jonathan, what you got?
I want a high scoring game, like you said. I want at least 45, 50 points, 36. I want them both to go at it, man. I want to see best of the arms. Let's go.
Vic?
I'm gonna go with down to the wire, 1 to 2 possessions. One down to one. Like both of them have a possession left in the game to win it. That's what I want.
Yeah, Cruz.
I'm gonna say 38-27 Chiefs.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna go 35-42 Bucks. I think Mike Evans is gonna have about $150, 2 touchdowns, a little extra stats for everybody. But okay, cool. For the week, what you got, Vic?
What is it? Week 1. So I'm actually gonna work on get busy right here. Helping my wife soft launch of her charcuterie boards.
Charcuterie.
I learned how to pronounce the word. It's not
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie. Still working on it. But yeah, we just kind of do a little soft launch last night, like a little thing going on. So we had a friend that wanted a board, and then we made it. So now like, all right, let's do it. We got, so a little soft launch, a lot to work on. We already got a bunch of orders already. I'm like, dang. But I'm building a website. We already bought some stuff on Amazon as far as material to get it going. Again, it's a soft launch, not a big launch. So we're gonna do a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, man, that's really what I'm gonna be focused on.
Nice. Chris, what you got for the week, my dude?
Just work, errands, and trying to get my reading in. That's pretty boring lately. Nothing exciting.
Jonathan, what's going on over there, brother?
Well, I didn't tell you guys. Victor knows, but I know Ian and Chris. You've been actually waiting as much as I've been waiting. The day after my son was born, I got a call from my whole entire team. I got promoted to AD finally.
Let's go.
Camp Gladiator.
Congrats.
Good stuff.
I've been talking about that for almost a year and a half. And so since I've officially got promoted, now I have training modules that I got to do for the rest of the week. And so I'm in learning mode some more.
Death by PowerPoint. Nice. Congrats, dude. I'm really happy to hear that, brother.
Yes, sir.
Now, for me, reading the 8 to 5 and just preparing mentally for this baby home stretch. We got 2 months. April 9th, I think, is go time. So just getting stuff together on the house and even a house situation. So I rent. I don't own my home. So we're trying to figure out if we can stay here for another year, because I'd rather not move 2 months with the 2-month-old. So
yeah, cool.
But me neither.
That's a different podcast. But all right, ladies and gents. Valentine's Day coming up. The best of luck to everybody with spouses or significant others. Just remember to keep an open eye, open ear, open heart, because not everybody loves the way that you do. They don't express love the way that you do. So you got to get better for yourself and for your significant other. I'm gonna leave you with a quote from Helen Keller. She says, "The best and most beautiful things in this world cannot be seen or even heard. but must be felt with the heart. As always, we appreciate you being here today. Until next time, peace and love.